Hello and welcome to another How Lou Sees It review. Today I'm reviewing Space Sheep by Stronghold Games, and it is designed by Anthony Rubo, and it is for 1 to 8 players, ages 10 and up, and it takes about 20-30 minutes to play. You'll notice that it has a kind of Star Wars parody theme to it, artwork. It really comes down to it is just basically an abstract puzzle game, cooperative puzzle game with optional trader element to it that you can add. So go ahead and take a look at it. The one thing I'll point out is I really enjoy games that you can play a wide variety or wide range of players. So 1 to 8, when I see that, I think automatically this is a game that I'm going to enjoy, because I know that hopefully it'll be one that works well with one player and works well with 8 players. Now we'll get into that a little bit more, but I enjoy that the game can be played with a wide range of players. When you open the box, you will find lots and lots of stuff. Okay, you're going to have the rule book. You're going to have these 8 different colored player mats. Well, 9, including this kind of wild player mat that you don't really use in the game. It's I guess a possible future expansion will utilize that, and I guess you could kind of do some home rule thing and variations that you can play there. But you'll have 8 of these. Comes with a sand timer for the wolf and a die. It also comes with a commander card to keep track of who is the commander, who is in charge of the die and the timer. We'll talk about that. But it comes with a bunch of tactics cards that basically just have all the different colors represented in the game, and you have wilds as well. You'll notice the cards have symbols. That's purely for just kind of effect, and for people who might have a hard time distinguishing the colors from one another. But yeah, so you'll have your tactics cards. You have again the trader variant that you can play, and so you'll have some allegiance. You'll either be a sheep or a wolf. So the game comes with that. Comes with this little defense console. Comes with these awesome meeples that are nice and big and chunky, and they're really pretty nice quality. You'll notice the shepherd here. So-called shepherd is the ship, if you will, and it kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon. Continuing that parody and that theme there. But yeah, so you have those nice chunky things there. You have a bunch of tokens that help randomize the special actions that are shown on the cards, or on the planets, I mean. You have a bunch of different action things that you will place on a mat as you add it in the game. Randomize these, place it there, and you'll notice some of them don't, but most of them do have a little spot for a little token. That's where all these little randomizers come in handy to place on there. So move past the orange shepherd. Okay, so that's one thing that you probably already notice, is that there's a lot of components, right? Well, the thing that you need to also know is that it's basically, with how it's built, it opens itself up to lots of different variants, and you can customize the game a lot in a lot of different ways. Okay, and there's quite a few other reviews and instruction videos out there. I like to focus more on my thoughts on the game rather than the actual real detailed gameplay. I'll give you a little bit of an idea how the game plays, but then I'd like to just kind of talk about the different elements. So again, the instructional videos, there's some really great ones out there. And I'll try to post some links to those, but I really want to kind of give you my thoughts. Basically, first let me just give you a real quick down run. During the game, the object of the game is to get each shepherd and each sheep onto their home planet. Okay, at the very beginning of the game, you'll randomize these, and you do that through means of these tactic cards. So you have the game also includes little reference cards. Actually, during the gameplay, I don't know that you really have time to if the player doesn't really know how to play the game and they have to reference this, they're going to be struggling through the game. What is nice is when you're explaining the game and for the first time to hand these out so that people have something to look at as you're explaining what's going on. So on your turn, when you play a tactics card, you can play a card that matches the system color, and you would move either the sheep or the shepherd per the instruction tile, or if the matching sheep and shepherd are both together, you can move both of them. Okay, so if I were to play a green, because this is the green mat here, card, then I can move either the shepherd or the sheep according to this instruction tile, or since these two are together, I would be able to move both of them per that instruction tile. Okay, and this is an example instruction tile. This is a little more advanced one. Move 3 forward if the purple sheep is with his shepherd, otherwise move 1 forward. Okay, so you'd have to look at your current board or situation for your purple sheep, and our purple sheep is with its shepherd, so we would actually be able to move, or we would move these 3 forward. Now, or we can move just the shepherd or just the sheep for 3 forward. And of course, if it wasn't with it, then we just move 1 forward. Okay, so that's just an example. Some other examples of those tiles, move 2 behind the blue shepherd. So if I played a blue card, then I'd be able to move either one of these, or since they're together, both behind the blue shepherd. Behind meaning basically counterclockwise from that. So behind the blue shepherd here, 1, 2. So I'd be able to move either this or that over there. And whenever you move pieces, you swap the equivalent. So if I'm moving a sheep, I would move that there and move the white sheep over there. Or if I move both, I would go ahead and just swap both of these over. So you're just swapping pieces back and forth. That's all it is. So the basic concept of the game is simple. Now, going and as you move pieces around, these tiles, instruction tiles, won't change, but whenever you go to utilize them, it's going to be different because your pieces are moving around and changing how the instruction tiles are able to help you throughout the game. Okay, so moving per the instruction tiles. Now you can also, as stated on here, number 2, you can activate a shepherd. So since the shepherd represents kind of the sheep, you can play a card of the colored shepherd that you'd like to move and move that forward 1 or clockwise 1. So if I played a blue card, I could either do the instruction per this or move my blue shepherd 1. Okay, The other option that you have, and this will make a little more sense as we go along here, is I can go ahead and discard a card face down to the defense console. Okay, so that's what you do throughout the game. And the only other thing that you can do is on your turn, you can play a card to attack the wolf. And to do that, you have to attack the wolf. You play a card equal to, or the color matching what playing mat he's on, what planet he's on. So if I had a white card, I could go ahead and play a white card face up to the discard, and then I would be able to knock down the wolf. Okay, and that's what you can do on your turn. And you're trying to get all of these matched up on their color. Now, the game itself, again, has this wolf built in. And so why would you want to attack the wolf? Well, if the wolf attacks, so let's step back a little bit. So, wolfing attacking sheep doesn't sound pretty, right? Not a good thing. Well, that's what this little timer is, and whoever is the commander will start the game, and he'll start the timer. And every single time that the timer runs out, the wolf will eat and take up the number of cards listed here. And again, this is another customizable thing. You can change it from 4 to 5, anywhere from 2 to 8. And then you have a infinity symbol. Basically, if the timer ever runs out, you automatically will lose the game. Well, we don't want that to happen, and we don't like the wolf attacking. So, on your turn, besides playing, in addition to playing a card to move pieces, you can play a card into face up in the discard pile that matches the planet that the wolf is on, and that would knock him over. And then the commander can go ahead and turn this over right before the timer runs out, waiting until that moment to do so, flip it over, roll the die, and he would move the wolf then 2 clockwise and put him face up again. Now, on the next person's turn, if they have an orange, they can go ahead and immediately play an orange and knock him over again. And the Space Commander will keep an eye on this, but not flip over and move the wolf until the last minute. And so that's how the wolf aspect. So if this ever runs out, the wolf will take whatever cards are in the defensive console first, which we only have 1. That would mean that the remainder 3 cards would have to come from the hands of the current players that are playing. And you only have a certain limited amount of cards, and as soon as all these tactic cards are gone, they are gone. So then from then on, players are playing with just what cards they have in their hand, not drawing any more cards to replenish their hand to 4. If the wolf ever attacks and there's not enough cards to suffice that, you lose the game. In the instance of the last game me and my wife played here with the 5 mats, I had 2 cards left, she had 1, and we just did not have the number of cards we needed to move the pieces to the appropriate locations to win the game. So, but the other thing that I mentioned is that there are plenty of tactics cards. So we played, with 5 of each color and 5 wilds, as suggested. And but you can make it a little bit easier and add, 1 or 2 more, say 1 or 2 more colors of each of the colors in there, so that you'd have more cards available. Which in this instance is how me and my wife lost. Okay, but there's also, again, we didn't actually ever let the wolf attack us, but you could go ahead and make it a little bit easier and make it a 2 so that it's not as big of a deal if the wolf attacks. you can add more player mats. So again, you'll want to start with 4, I would suggest, and go from there. So there's just so many different ways that you can customize the game. The number of playing mats. Then the playing mats, you have this huge stack of instruction tiles that would change each time you play the game there. And then for each instruction tile, you draw randomly the colors that are associated with that instruction tile. And then not only that, but then each of the instruction tiles are going to be placed around the board in different ways. So, if this was here or it was over there, and that one was, these instruction tiles were switched, that would be even a different game, different feel to it. Again, you can add more player mats, less player mats, more tactic cards, less tactic cards. The wolf here, more or less. If you're playing with more players, you could add in the allegiance, where you have some traitor aspect to it, and you have people who are secretly wolves, and they're trying to stop you from getting everyone home. So tons and tons of replay value. And really, you can play a family game without the wolf at all. Go ahead and take out the defense console, the timer aspect of it, the wolf and everything, and make it a little bit more of a zen, if you will, more of a easier, not as stressful gameplay, but you'd still be limited in your tactics cards and how you're playing the game. And you could take some of the tactics cards out for this type of version to limit yourself a little bit more there. So in the real game, you're going to be utilizing cards to knock over the wolf and make sure that he's not going to be taking any of your cards. Where if you're going to play the game without the wolf, you might be able to take some of those cards out to limit yourself. But yet you can easily change the difficulty of the game to easy, to hard, to extremely difficult, to basically impossible. And that is really, really cool. So again, it has range of difficulty, range in the number of players. Me and my wife really enjoy it, and I think it plays really, really well as a 2-player game. I can see it playing really, really well as a single player game as well, where you're in charge of this, you're in charge of your cards, you know your strategy, and it's all up to you. Now, if you're playing with more mats, leaving it all up to you might be a little much to take in if you're trying to figure out all of this. But you can increase the difficulty, and I think that's one thing that I will continue to do is, you could do a single player, start with the 4 planets, go through it a bunch of times until you think you've got it down, go to 5 planets, and you try, upgrade the difficulty of the wolf, and so many different things that you can do with it. So I'm just kind of blown away by how the game is set up with these instruction tiles and the little tokens here, and the variety, the huge variety in it. Now, I haven't played this game yet with more players, but the trader aspect to it seems like it would be a really, really kind of fun element to the game. Basically, throughout the game is, if more than half of the players, point to one person, they basically oust that person. The person will flip over that card. I won't get into any of the real details of the rules there, but there is that element to the game too, so that it's a little bit kind of that bluffing type of aspect to it. So just huge variability, a huge range of players. The quality of the components are great. The cards, the meeples, sand timer, even the die. Everything is really great quality. I like the instruction tiles and the planet or matte tiles that are very, very good thickness. Just a great quality product. Now the game, again, I really, really enjoy it, but I'm an engineer. My wife is a math teacher, and there's certain people who their minds just kind of work that way. If you enjoy playing, doing Sudokus or Ken-Kens or those sort of kind of mind puzzles, you're one who is times yourself on the Rubik's Cube trying to get a quicker time, this is definitely going to be a game that I think you're going to enjoy. Now, if you don't like any of that, if you don't like Rubik's Cubes, if you don't like the slide number puzzles where it's in a grid and you're sliding it around and you have to get 1 through 15 or whatever with just one slot and you're sliding things around, that's really what this game reminds me of, is one of those sliding number puzzles, because you're trying to get things in an order, in this case the colors on each colored mat, and you're swapping places, and there may be some times where you need to swap things, so you may need to break up the colors. It would seem like you'd want these together all the time, right? But really that's going to limit yourself in some regards to some of the instruction tiles. So it may seem counterintuitive at first, but it's breaking out of that and figuring that out and be like, oh man, I'm going to have to break these up to do that, to be able to move that there, to actually get the game completed. And so it reminds me of the sliding puzzle where you're sliding things around and you'll get things in order, but you're going to have to split them up to actually get the game into the end state that you want. So if puzzle games are something that you enjoy, I think you'll really, really enjoy this game. And the huge variability that it gives you to start off with easy and get right into really, really difficult to play with, play on your own, a solo game, or get some friends around the table and play the allegiance and play a little trader role in there. Huge variability for that. Now, I don't think the variability and the amount of customization, any of that would help someone enjoy the game who just dislikes puzzles. There's a difference between puzzles and strategically playing a game and figuring out, worker placement games or deck building games. There's a huge difference in my mind between those and a game like this. But if you enjoy puzzle games and you feel like this is something that you would like, go ahead and check it out. Again, Space Sheep from Stronghold Games. And the other thing, which I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, was the timing element. It really keeps the game to a good length. That was the other thing I really liked, is it's a short game. And if you're not playing with the timing element, it can be a little bit longer, but really you're limited with your tactics cards again, and it's going to end. It's not going to draw out. If you're playing with the timing element, which is really kind of the main game here, would always have that timing element. If you add the timing element, it's going to be pushing you to go through and work through your tactics cards and make decisions, at least somewhat quickly and timely. And so I really enjoy that. I mean, it's not going to draw out. So I like the timing aspect, the customization, variability, never going to get old. The difficulty variability is huge in my mind as well. So go ahead and find some instructional videos if you're interested in learning a little bit more how the game can play. But those are my thoughts. I really enjoy Space Sheep.